What is going on, Raptors Nation? What is going on? The Toronto Raptors begin their season with the W. Yes, the Toronto Raptors win on opening night, and I'm going to talk about it. Do us a solid favor, hit a like on the video, subscribe to the channel for more. This is the Raptors Nation post-game live as the Raptors, coming into tonight, opening night is always special. You wanted to see if this team was going to carry that momentum from the preseason to the regular season and begin the season with a W. Well, the Raptors do just that. It wasn't the prettiest of wins. Definitely a lot to clean up, but overall, the Raptors, they get it done when they needed to, 97-94. And when you look at this one, and we're going to get into the box score in depth in just a second here, but you look at the Raptors, they didn't shoot it particularly well, 40% from the field, 40% from three, but their defense, they limited the T-Wolves to just 34% shooting, 25% from three. It was a grind from Minnesota to score the basketball in this one. The Raptors get dominated on the glass. That was expected anytime you got to take on the bigs of the T-Wolves and Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, but the assists, that remains to be up for the Raptors, which is great to see. The ball movement continues to look so solid. 27 assists on 36 made baskets. You love to see it. The Raptors had 9 steals, and points in the paint was pretty even. So the Raptors, this was 25-25 after the first quarter. Then, the Raptors carried a slight lead going into the second half. And this one was close throughout, but this one came down to the Raptors starters getting it done when you look at it. And we are going to pull up the box score right now. Let me share my screen here. It's first time using, well, not first time using StreamYard, but it's been a while. So let me see here. Share screen. Let's go. Let's see if this works. All right, there we go. So we are going to look at the box score. As Adonde says, good start to the season. I agree, man. Really good start to the season. You look at the Raptors tonight. Okay, so let's begin with the guy who stood out the most to me. Dennis Schroder, man. I am super excited about what he's going to bring to the Raptors this season. So I made a take on my personal channel, Luca Rosano, and I said that Dennis Schroder is going to potentially be a genius move from the Raptors in the sense that the Raptors let Fred VanVleet walk. They bring in Dennis Schroder for a much cheaper price. And Dennis Schroder is a more traditional point guard, and he's going to do so many good things for this team. We look at Schroder. I wasn't expecting Schroder to lead all Raptors scorers with 22 points. We saw it in that final preseason game against the Bulls. He had 11 assists. That's the Dennis Schroder I thought we were going to see tonight. I thought we were going to see the facilitator, and we did. But I didn't think we are going to get both the facilitator and the point scorer because Dennis Schroder not only got his teammates involved, but he scored it at a high level as well. You talk about Dennis Schroder, 22 points, 8 of 17 from the field. He had 7 assists. He was 4 of 8 from 3. This is a guy who was said not to be able to hit the 3 ball. And I said when I made that take, if Dennis Schroder can improve his 3-point shooting, and he can improve that field goal percentage, and he gives you consistent play, man, oh man, do the Raptors ever get a bargain. So I know it's just one game. I'm not going to get over ahead of myself, but you really got to like what you saw from Dennis Schroder in his official Raptors debut. 33 minutes. He plays with such great energy. He's so quick, which is a breath of fresh air. And if Dennis Schroder can hit the 3 ball and he hits his shots like this, man, oh man, you know what he's going to mean to the other players on this team. He's very unselfish. He's going to defer to Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam when he needs to. But Dennis Schroder can get to the basket, and he can get his as well. So I really loved what I saw from Schroder. He gets the game ball, in my opinion. He really did a good job. And it's pretty close because right behind him was OG Anunoby. And Anunoby was solid, particularly with his offense, because if Anunoby doesn't get his offense going in the beginning of this game, the T-Wolves might have run away with it, because you saw in that first half, Pascal Siakam, and we'll get to him a little bit more in just a minute here, and Scotty Barnes from the field, they did not begin this game well from the field, and both of them, let's call it for what it is. They had poor shooting nights. OG Anunoby was the guy who really set the tone for this Raptors team, hitting some threes, hitting his shots. He was 7 of 13 from the field, 4 and 9 from three, and he finished this game with 6 rebounds, 2 steals, and he had 3 block shots. That's such an underrated part of his game that OG Anunoby is able to block shots. We know how good OG Anunoby is defensively, but it's all about, is he able to take a leap offensively? We're all talking about Scotty Barnes taking that inevitable leap. How about OG Anunoby taking that leap with his offense? Because I personally want to see OG Anunoby take a leap and average more points this season, which I think he's fully capable of doing because, coming into the season, OG was going to get more shot attempts when you don't have a guy like Fred VanVleet there. And OG, if he is able to shoot the ball this well, I mean, he's going to have himself a nice season. He's built a reputation of a 3-and-D player, but I think he could do just a little bit more offensively. And we saw it tonight. And he really was that spark plug to this Raptors team that got off to a bad start again. That continues to be an issue with this Raptors team. You want to see them avoid that. I mean, the poor starts, the poor shooting performances to begin the game. But tonight it was OG Anunoby. Got them out of the gutter, got that offense rolling a bit. He hit his shots, and he was a huge reason why Minnesota didn't make a run in that first half. And like I said, potentially build a big lead that would have maybe been too much to overcome later on. OG kept the Raptors right in this game. So OG Anunoby and Dennis Schroder really did a great job with the scoring efforts when the Raptors' main guys weren't particularly getting going. But when you talk about the Raptors' main guys, their stars, let's talk about Scotty Barnes. He had 17 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. He had a poor shooting performance. Like I said, 6 of 16. You want to get that up. 1 of 4 from 3. But the 5 block shots, man. Oh, my goodness. Scotty Barnes is so good defensively. And Darko Rajakovic said this the other day, that he believes that Scotty Barnes is one day going to become a defensive player of the year. And you look at Scotty Barnes, we all talk about the leap that he's going to take offensively. Defensively, he could be just as good. And he is so, long. He's able to get to shots. He's such a specimen that, when you look at Scotty Barnes, once he's dialed in defensively, it's a scary sight. So Scotty Barnes, he didn't shoot the ball well, but he can impact the game in so many other ways. Whether it's rebounding, like I said, had 8 rebounds, assists 5, getting his teammates involved, 5 block shots. This is what Scotty's going to bring to the table. And this is what makes him such a unique player, because even if he isn't getting a shot to fall, he's still going to have a major impact in the game. So Scotty Barnes, I mean, you got to just continue to marvel at what he can become. He logged 37 minutes tonight, and he's just going to continue to get better, in my opinion. And it's good to see him really tune in defensively, because if he starts to get that offense going consistently, like we saw in the preseason, he's going to be a tough cover, and he's just going to be as advertised on both ends. So I liked what I saw from Scotty, all things considered. You'll live with the poor shooting night. Hope he can bounce back in, from the field and from 3. But yeah, then you talk about Pascal Siakam. He did struggle. He had 15 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Again, like Scotty, didn't particularly shoot the ball well tonight, but he was able to, impact the game in other ways. He's always going to have nice stat lines like this. When you look at Pascal Siakam, he's a proven playmaker. And, I would like him to get to the free throw line more if he can, especially when his shot isn't falling on a night like tonight. But Siakam, 5 of 17, 3 of 5 from 3. And here's the thing, right? Pascal Siakam didn't even have a good game scoring wise in this one, and the Raptors were still able to win. Scotty Barnes didn't shoot the ball well, as well, and the Raptors were still able to win this game. So that just tells you the Raptors can find different ways to be in games and win, even if their top guys aren't performing at an all-star level when it comes to scoring the basketball, and when their point totals are kind of low and their shooting is off for the night. So that is a big point that I want to bring up, that the Raptors still able to find a way to win this game. Because if I told you going into tonight's game that, Siakam was going to have 15 points on 5 of 17 shooting, Scotty was going to have 17 points on 6 of 16 shooting, a lot of you probably would have guessed that the Raptors lost this game. That is not the case. I'm going to get to some comments towards the end here, but appreciate everybody in here. Hit a like and subscribe for more post-game lives just like this. Jakob Poeltl, he had 7 points. in 24 minutes. He had 11 rebounds, and he's definitely a guy that's going to be valuable to this Raptors team when they go up against bigs like Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert. And then you look at the Raptors bench. So this was something that was actually really interesting to me. The Raptors rotation tonight. So McDaniels didn't play well, 0 points, 0 of 3 from the field, 0 of 3 from three. We saw Precious tonight. He looked good in 24 minutes, 8 points, 9 rebounds, pardon me. And, like OG, Precious was that guy who was giving the Raptors kind of that spark at the beginning, particularly from off the bench. So it was nice to see Precious come in. And, Precious believes that he could be one of the best defenders in the NBA. He said that the other day, and I really think this is a prove a year for Precious, who can be an integral part of the bench. We talked about Gary Trent Jr. locking into that role, but I think Precious can really be good, from off the bench for this Raptors team on both sides. You want to see him clean up the ball handling skills, not make too many of those silly decisions out there. But if Precious can, shoot the ball well, 4 and 9, you can live with that. He's able to hit some threes. He was 0 of 1 tonight from three, but he's able to do it on both ends, particularly defensively. Him switching is his strongest suit, but just like continuing to get better at defense, like a Scotty Barnes, that's all you can ask for the Raptors. So I did like what I saw in Precious's minutes. Malachi Flynn, 10 minutes, 1 of 3 3 points. Again, what I'll say about Malachi is you just want him to come in and try to inject some offense, hit those shots, hit some threes. And then Gary Trent Jr. had an off night, 5 points, 2 of 8 from the field. And then Grady Dick got 2 minutes of play, and he had 0 points, and he missed his lone shot. So the bench wasn't particularly impressive tonight. Obviously, that's what I think is going to be one of the Raptors' strongest suits this season. But again, the Raptors still able to win without their star players shooting the ball well and their bench not particularly having a big outing. I mean, the Raptors bench had 62 in the preseason. I know it's just the preseason, but it was definitely one of those off nights from the bench. But the biggest takeaway when it comes to the Raptors bench is the rotation. We did not see Chris Boucher. So this is very surprising to me because I penciled in Chris Boucher as a guarantee. And I thought we were going to see him as a staple in that second unit. But, when you look at it, Boucher doesn't get minutes. We don't see Otto Porter Jr., who we did see in the preseason finale, so he's obviously healthy enough to go. And Darko Rajakovic said that he's going to roll with 10 men, a 10-man rotation. And I know technically tonight it was 9 because Dick only played 2 minutes, but I don't know what this means for Chris Boucher because I am actually very surprised we didn't see him in any capacity tonight and, completely lift off the rotation. This is a guy who's been a staple from off the bench for the Raptors dating back a couple of years now. He's a high energy guy. He's able to, come in, splash some threes and does a great job defensively with that great length of his. So yeah, very, very interesting takeaway that, Chris Boucher does not register a minute. And it'll be very interesting to see how this situation develops because, there might be a situation where Chris Boucher could be on the trading block as we get closer to the deadline. I know it's so early to talk about that type of stuff, but, having Chris Boucher not appear in this game was a big takeaway and a big shock, if I'm being honest. So we'll see if that's the case when the Raptors do take on the Chicago Bulls on Friday night. Grady Dick didn't particularly get a lot of minutes. That suggests that Darko is sure that Grady Dick's going to be that 10th guy. So maybe we are going to see Boucher come in. But all in all, yeah, Grady Dick was that 10th guy. And I guess the biggest takeaway when it came to Grady Dick was it was nice to see him get a hero's welcome. I mean, you could just tell he's a fan favorite. Like Grady Dick is so over right now. If this is WWE terms we're talking about, like he's so over with the crowd and it's great to see. So all in all, I mean, like I said, all things considered, you're going to take this if you're the Raptors. The way you're able to, squeak out this win at home, you start the season off 1-0. You shot a 40% from the field, 40% from three, and you just hung in there. That's what this was about. They got badly out rebounded, like I said, but the ball movement, that is such a breath of fresh air, especially in a game like this when you're struggling to, generate offense, you're missing your shots, moving the ball is going to open things up other ways. And we saw that come to fruition for the Raptors. As long as the ball movement continues to be swung around, continues to look solid, the Raptors are going to be in a great position to score the basketball. So that is so good to see. And another big takeaway is fast break points continue to be a strong suit for this team. 34 tonight for the Raptors. They like to get out and they like to push it. So that has just, been really good to see preseason, now into the first game of the season. Raptors had 11 block shots, and the largest lead for them was 10, as Minnesota just couldn't get anything going. And I think one of the things that we got to credit a lot here, as I'm going to get to some comments soon, is this Raptors defense, particularly in the final couple minutes of that game. The Raptors locked in, stifled defensively, and they did not make anything easy tonight for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, it seemed like it was a chore for Minnesota to score, and they did not have good shooting nights at all. I mean, you look at Towns, he got 19, he's going to get his, but 2 of 10 from the field. Gobert was 6 of 12, he had 15, and then Anthony Edwards, he had 26, but he was 8 of 27. Like, the Raptors made him work for those 26 points, and he did get to the free throw line 6 times. So the defense, I thought, for the Raptors was, really good when you look at start to finish, and they really buckled in when they needed to. So all in all, I mean, you got to be happy if you're the Raptors with this performance to begin your season and, begin this year, as there's going to be a lot of obviously things that the team needs to work on. You want guys to shoot the ball better. You're going to want Pascal Siakam to get off to a much better start, not be as careless with the basketball as he was in the first half. You want to see Scotty Barnes obviously get that 3-ball rolling, but this was a great way for them to start the season. I mean, you're not complaining with what you saw, and the Raptors able to hold on against Minnesota, and now they will take on the Chicago Bulls on Friday night, and then they're going to have a back-to-back. They're going to have Chicago on Friday, Philadelphia on Saturday. That's going to be great. Nick Nurse obviously going up against his former team, but the vibes just feel different, man. Like, listen, it's one game. I don't want to overreact here, but it just seems like, the Raptors are playing much better. And, and it took me, 20 minutes into this post game to even mention it, but congratulations to Darko Rajakovic, who gets his first official win as a head coach. And it's going to mean so much to him. And Darko, he's got these guys playing hard. You can tell there's such a good relationship, coach to player relationship. And Darko just seems like a player's coach, and he's just going to get the most out of these guys. He's not going to get too hard on them. He's really going to gel nicely with these players, and we've seen it already. So I think that continuity, that chemistry is going to continue to get better. I think the Raptors are not going to shoot the ball as poorly as they did tonight. If you get Siakam going, Barnes going, I think that bench can play a lot better than they did tonight. The Raptors are going to be a very solid team, I think, and they are going to surprise a lot of people. And there's a reason why I picked the Raptors to finish 6th this season, is because I think this is a team that they're going to play hard. And even in a game like tonight, and they're probably going to have many more of these where, it's an ugly, grind them out kind of game, they still played locked in when they needed to. They still had high energy. They never looked like a team that was defeated, and they just hung in there and they made winning plays when they needed to. And especially in that second half, the Raptors came out in that second half, playing beautiful basketball and really sharing the ball. And, that set the tempo, because it was a close game. And, you got the feeling, okay, maybe Minnesota's going to make a run now, but the Raptors always had a response, it seemed, when they needed to. And then the fourth quarter, when it was time to close it out, they did just that. So the Raptors get it done. I am very pleased with their win to begin this season. But let me know, guys, what your thoughts are to the game. We are going to throw it to the floor here. If you guys have any comments or overall questions, let me know, as I will get to them. As Adonde says, good start to the season. Couple of silly passing in the second half, but Toronto held their own. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was just talking about. Like, it wasn't pretty. There's obviously things you're going to go back and want to clean up. But when it was gut check time, the Raptors, hung in there and they got the dub. I'm about to be a Schroder fan because he was 17 like my birthday. I think a lot of people are going to become Dennis Schroeder's fan. And, you look at Dennis Schroeder, like he's on cloud nine right now, right? Like if he's going to have a huge year, like you would put your money on it being this year. You look at the type of summer he had, right? Like new contract, gets paid, um, has just a breakout performance at the FIBA World Cup, leads his country, Team Germany, to gold. Like the dude's just like over here right now. Like, he's a starter on his new team. This is a guy that's used to coming off the bench. So I think Dennis Schroeder is really, really going to thrive with the Raptors. And you can tell he gets along with the current personnel. You see him smiling, you see him getting along with the players. I think Dennis Schroeder is going to be a home run. Again, I'm trying not to overreact here, but I think Dennis Schroeder is really going to be a good get when we look back at this thing because you look at what they got him for, what he brings to the table. He's the type of point guard the Raptors needed. And unfortunately, when you have a guy like Fred who's like so offense heavy, looks for a shot, that can kind of disrupt other things. But Dennis Schroeder is the perfect guy you want in this team style of play where everybody's moving the basketball, everybody's sharing it, and everybody's touching it. So I think yeah, I really like Dennis Schroeder, as you guys can tell. Um, Malachi Flynn, 4 fouls and 2 turn. Yeah, you know what, Malachi, it's been, I kind of look at his outings, and I'm looking at it like half glass full because obviously Darko sees something in this kid. And it truly was a new Raptors era when you saw Malachi Flynn checking into this game in like as the team's backup point guard in the first game of the season. And Malachi really has an opportunity here to step into this role and be this team's backup point guard. But, he's got to play better. Like he looked good in this preseason finale, but, there's still the mistakes he makes, just the careless turnovers, over fouling. And I think it's going to be really tough from him if he doesn't hit his shots because I said it. And Malachi Flynn isn't hitting his threes. He's not hitting his shots. He becomes a liability for this team. But at the same time, the Raptors bench collectively tonight did not play well outside of Precious. So I'm not going to get too much on Malachi because McDaniels, too. I mean, I've been high on him all preseason and, he laid an egg tonight. So again, you could look at it as a positive. The Raptors bench had a very bad performance. Probably not going to get too many like these, especially if this bench is as advertised. So you live with it. And like I said, at the end of the day, the most important thing is that the Raptors got the W when, you know, it looked like this was going to be one of those games where they threw away or Minnesota was going to come back and make that run. But I've been very impressed with this team's ball movement. I think the defense is going to continue to be standout. Like I was never concerned about this Raptors defense coming in. That's why I never really touched on it so much because I think the defense is just going to be a staple. And I really think the defense is going to be something that the Raptors just hang their hat on. And, we're probably going to get more grind 'em out wins like this where the Raptors are going to have bad shooting nights, but they're going to find a way to win because their defense keeps them in it. And then guys are going to make plays late. So I think the defense is going to be this team's calling card. And I hope the bench is another one of these, this team's calling card. But obviously the bench has to play a lot better than they did tonight. So we'll continue to look at Malachi. Obviously it was a tough outing from him, but yeah, if you guys have any other questions, comments, this is the Raptors post game live. I'll be doing another one of these on Friday when the Raptors take on the Bulls. And that's going to be an interesting dynamic, I guess, for the Raptors as they're going to be playing in their first back-to-back of the season. But I mean, anytime you begin the season with a win, always a great thing. So super, super excited. And I actually had a scare in this game. Like, I don't know if any of you got Rogers internet, but my internet connection and TV literally went out. So I actually had to like go outside and stream this game on my phone for the fourth quarter and on because yeah, Rogers went out on me and I'm like, wow, what are the odds that the internet goes out and Rogers completely caves in on on Raptors opening night. John Bowe says Scotty was looking incredible, and so was OG and Schroder. Yeah, I touched on it at the beginning of this post game live. Schroder, I gave the game ball to. It was close. It was between him and OG, but I thought OG was spectacular, especially in that first half. I think he's a big reason why that this game didn't get out of hand for the Raptors, and he kept them in the game with his shooting. And Scotty Barnes, I mean, just yeah, again, an overall incredible performance, stuffing the stat sheet. You're going to get this so much more from Barnes. And, he didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but still able to impact it, especially on the defensive end. And I cannot tell you guys enough, like, Scotty Barnes has so much potential, especially when it comes to his defense. Like 5 blocks. Riakovic sees this guy as a future defensive player of the year, and you can see why. Like such a high ceiling on defense that I keep saying it. If he puts it together on both ends consistently, like this is going to be a very, very special season for Scotty Barnes. You just see it coming. Like he's just scraping the surface, and it's coming. So, all things considered, man, like this was just it was really good. And these are definitely the 3 players tonight. A huge reason why the Raptors were able to win this game. And shout out to Precious too. I thought the Precious minutes in the first half, particularly in the first quarter, the second quarter, were big. Grady should get more minutes. Fans love him. Yeah, I mean, this guy's getting the hero's welcome. He's over right now. Like, I don't know how many of you follow wrestling, but Grady Dick's a baby face. Like, this dude is so over with the crowd. Like, it's great to see, man. Like, he only got 2 minutes tonight. And again, this kind of stems to my overall confusion because not only did we not see Chris Boucher, who I thought was a guarantee in the rotation, but we only saw 2 minutes of Grady Dick. But this stems from Riakovic saying that they're not going to rush Grady Dick. They're going to bring him along gradually. And this is just going to be a slow moving process for him, which is why like we might even get Boucher next game and we might not get Grady. I don't know. I don't know what his game plan is when it comes to that 10th man from off the bench. But I definitely think the Raptors should play Grady. Look, it was shocking. It surprised me, but I'm not complaining that Grady Dick's getting minutes because I want to see him develop. I want to see him get his reps in. But it's going to be a very interesting decision if the Raptors do hold out on Chris Boucher and lean more towards Grady Dick minutes because the fans love him and he can definitely be an impactful player for this team. And his shooting can be helpful for this team, especially in a game like this when the Raptors couldn't hit a damn shot early on. I mean, this was just brick central. But hey, look, Raptors were bad from the field, but Minnesota was even worse. So this was just one of those ugly games shooting it. But hit a like on the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you have any other questions as just about time to wrap it up here. This was a lot of fun, man. I mean, the Raptors opening night, nothing like it. Always great to see this team in action, and I'm glad the season's finally started because I was sick of the preseason, and now these games actually mean something, and these games are going to count. So this is it's going to be good. I think this team's going to be a lot better this season, and you guys can tell the culture seems different, the vibe seems different, and at the very least, I think the Raptors are going to be a tough out. Like, this is going to be a team, I think, that's rarely going to just lay over. I don't think we're going to see, like, abysmal games like we did last season. And I think even in losses, the Raptors are going to find a way to be competitive. Yeah, this is probably a good way to wrap it up because I am not in my usual backdrop because of Rogers. So, John Bowe, you are dead on with this comment. But I was still able to make this work, guys. I impromptu went to a different location, able to get this up and running, and I wanted to bring you guys this post game because Raptors open tonight, nothing like it. But the Toronto Raptors get it done. They're 1-0, and I'm super excited to see how this team's going to look from here on out. Guys, hit a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, leave your comments down below if you're watching this on the replay. That's going to conclude it for me. Thank you guys for being a part of this. Raptors 1-0. Look to make it 2-0 on Friday. I will have a post-game video following that. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Until next time, stay safe.